So, good evening, everyone. Whoever is seeing this video, good evening to sir. Today, I'm recording the topic regarding study on mutual funds in respect to the banking sector during the COVID times, which says how mutual funds have been affected due to COVID, positively and negatively, both sides. And that is my topic today, and I will discuss about it through a PPT. So, my subject is English for researcher. It is for final assessment test, FAT exam. My topic is study on mutual funds in respect to banking sector during COVID-19 times. So I'll start with what is mutual funds? What is many people don't know what is mutual fund is. So I will tell about it and then I'll go to the topic. So mutual fund is a pool of money from the investing public. Uh, it's a money that will be collected from the public and use that money to buy other securities, usually stocks and bonds. The value of the mutual fund company depends on the performance of the securities it decides to buy. So when you buy a unit or share a mutual fund, you are buying the performance or its portfolio, or more precisely, a part of portfolio's value, a part of a share of portfolio. Investing in a share of mutual fund is different from investing in a share of stock. So, unlike the stocks, mutual fund shares do not give its holder any kind of voting rights. But a share of mutual fund represents the investment in many different stocks or any other securities or just in any kind of bonds or anything that is related to the mutual fund. The need for mutual fund. Mutual fund is something that have been very useful nowadays, which is being used by many people for investing money and for getting a good return out of it. So the need for mutual funds involve mutual fund perform diversification, which is diversification may be greatest benefit of mutual funds. The beauty of investing in mutual funds is that you can buy one fund and obtain instant access to hundreds of individual stocks or bonds. Otherwise, in order to diversify your portfolio, you can use the mutual fund, or you might have to buy individual securities, which exposes you to more potential volatility, etc. Diversification is kind of when you are transforming or converting something into something or converting bonds or converting shares that is related to mutual funds. Next is mutual fund has lot of options. So a mutual fund comes in many types and styles. There are stock funds, bond funds, sector funds, target data mutual funds, money market mutual funds, and balanced funds. Mutual funds allow to invest in market whether you believe in active portfolio management, actively managed funds. That is while investing into a fund, it has a regularity, it has a flow, and it's not something that you're investing now and you are investing after not many days. So it has a flow, and it is very constant process. There is no gap between it. So this is kind of the varieties. So or else, if you're not having the options of actively managing the mutual fund by investing into it regularly, you may prefer to buy a segment of the market with no interference from a manager, passive funds, and index mutual funds. The availability of different types of mutual funds allow you to build a diversified portfolio at a low cost without much of a hassle. So, in case you are not very good with what to do with a share in mutual fund, um, or kind of you don't know the process very much, or you are not interested in investing in a regular basis and you want to invest for one time, so you can also buy its shares, and through which you can gain a lot of profit at one time if you don't want to play it regularly. Next is mutual funds are extremely flexible. Many mutual fund companies allow investors to get started in a mutual fund with a very little amount, and it includes from $1,000, which is being used in everywhere, states and here also. So mutual fund family has a minimum of 100 in states. Mutual fund family has a minimum of $100 that can be invested, and you can start the process of mutual funds by investing just 100, by starting with 100. Um, and since mutual funds can be easily traded, the combination of low cost and ease of use makes them more accessible and make them reach more people, as it does not require constant amount of high amount of money. So this is the flexibility it has. It has an automatic reinvestment process. Okay. An investor can easily and automatically have capital gains and dividends reinvested into their mutual fund without a sales load or extra fees. Unless you are looking for income, that is dividend separated, deposited into cash for income reasons, you will want to choose an option to reinvest in dividends. Okay. And capital gains also. This will take advantage of compounding interest, which essentially means that the interest, dividends, and gain will go to buy more shares of your mutual funds rather than the cash coming out and being deposited into a separate account. So, what it is? An investor can easily and automatically have capital gains. Okay, so a capital gain is when you are investing the first time into something, or you can also take $100 that you are investing in mutual funds just for a start. So this is also capital gain if you're gaining from the capital, if you're gaining a lot of profit, also a kind of capital gain and dividends. So you can also reinvest. Capital gains you cannot reinvest, but if you are reinvesting into mutual funds, then you can keep investing regular on a regular basis, and it will give you return on a regular basis. If not, you're planning to invest for one time. The next is mutual fund is more transparent. So it has lots of transparency. There is nothing hidden or no hidden cost into it. It's just that you're starting with an amount and you are continuing with whatever you're giving every month or every time you're investing into it. So mutual fund holdings are publicly available, which ensures that investors are getting what they pay for. Investors can also see the underlying securities like stock, bonds, cash, or a combination of those that the mutual fund portfolio holds. All of the information you need to know is some don't need investing, but they will be found in mutual fund prospectus, which can be easily found on the mutual fund company website. So everything you cannot know about mutual fund. Most of the people don't know what is mutual fund, and mostly when it is online, most of the people don't have the access to know much in detail about this. So don't know, it is for them. If you're investing into mutual fund, go to the website of the company, know about the details, know about the process, know about how you can invest, what are the returns, and whatever you are getting out of it, or exactly every detail will be given in the prospectus of the company. So go through it first and then start investing. Next, maintains liquidity. So mutual funds has high range of liquidity. If you need to withdraw money from your brokerage account, you can get cash from most mutual funds within a few days. If you want to sell your mutual fund, the proceed from the sale are available as soon as the day after you sell the mutual fund. Some mutual funds have a settlement period for about 2 days. Like if you're selling the mutual fund, day after you will get the amount from the sale. It will not be instant, but in case of settlements, in case of any um, kind of agreement thing, then you it will take time around 2 days. But this level of liquidity is much better than some investment assets such as real estate. Real estate is the most riskier nowadays. Due to COVID times, it got really affected. So mutual fund is one process that you can actually invest with little amount, and it is very good, very flexible, very accessible, and most of the people can reach out to it. Next is systematic investment and withdrawal. Systematic investing and withdrawals, mutual funds. It's simple to take advantage of systematic investing with mutual funds. Many mutual fund companies allow investors to invest as little as $50 per month directly into a mutual fund. Money can be pulled directly from a bank account and invested directly into the mutual fund. On the other hand, money can be regularly withdrawn from a mutual fund account and be deposited into a bank. There are generally no fees for this service. So in case somebody is interested in investing into a mutual fund, it is as easy as anything. Like when somebody is interested, they will let know the bank person who is associated with the mutual fund process. They will just tell that you can actually withdraw, you can actually transfer money from my account directly to the mutual fund if the customer is interested in investing into the mutual funds. So there is no transaction like physical transaction. The person has to go and then you have to withdraw and then you have to put it into the other account of mutual fund. So you can start from there itself. He can just tell the agent and the agent will do the rest. He or she will transfer the money from the account and will put it in the mutual fund. And from there onwards, the mutual fund process, the mutual fund investment will start for the customer. So it is a professionally managed fund, which is managed professionally by every bank which has the mutual fund scheme. Mutual funds are professionally managed. Many investors don't have the resource or time to buy individual stocks. This is where professional management is valuable. Investing in individual securities such as stocks not only takes resources but a considerable amount of time. By contrast, mutual fund managers and analysts wake up each morning dedicating their professional lives to researching and analyzing current and potential holdings of their mutual funds. Mutual funds are very professionally managed. It's not something that you are managing on your own. So it can be managed by the specific people who are associated, and it's a professional process. If you're having some problem, you can actually call someone associated to it in to a bank or some agent. They will actually help you in solving your problem. The next, how does mutual fund works? Okay, so mutual fund is both an investment and an actual company. This dual nature may seem strange, but it is no different from how a share of AAPL is a representation of Apple Inc. When an investor buys Apple stock, he is buying partial ownership of the company and its asset. Similarly, a mutual fund investor is buying partial ownership of the mutual fund and its assets. So the difference is that Apple is in the business of making innovative devices and tablets, while mutual fund company is in the process of banking. So when we are buying stock, that means we are buying a part of the ownership of the company, of that particular company to which the stock belongs to. But in case of mutual fund, we are not buying a part of its company, but buying a share, which is also which is also equivalent to the share of the mutual fund and the stocks associated to the mutual funds. So mutual fund asset is both a venture and genuine organization. And the normal common asset holds over 100 distinct protections, which implies shared asset investors acquired significant broadening at a low cost. Considering financial backer who purchases just Google stock before the organization has an awful quarter. Okay. This is how mutual fund works. Returns through mutual funds. Okay. So investment bankers commonly acquire to get back shares. Investment bankers, people who are investing in mutual funds, they actually invest to get back shares. So, uh, returns are there for mutual funds. If there is no return, nobody will invest. So, mutual fund also has returns into it. That's why people invest. So, pay is procured from profits on stock and interest on securities held in the assets portfolio. An asset pays out essentially the entirely of the pay gets throughout the year to subsidize proprietors as a dissemination. Assets frequently backers a decision either to get a check for circulation or to reinvest the income and get more offers. Okay. So so whatever pay is acquired from the mutual fund through the year, so it will be given in one time. It is not a process like you're getting. Mutual fund is not something that it will give you immediate return. It takes time. It is a long term goal. If you're actually investing now, so you have to wait. You have to wait for the return. It's not something of a share or a stock that you have bought and you will be given instant return within 2 3 months. It's not like that. Mutual fund require time, around a year or more than that, to give you a return on your investment. So it's time consuming. It takes time, and yeah, exactly, it takes time, and it's not an instant process. In the event that the asset sales protection that have expanded in value, the asset has a capital addition. Most assets likewise give these increases to financial bakers in the circulation. So agents who are actually giving uh, giving you or telling you the process, people for whom they don't know the process of mutual fund, a part of the return, a part of a profit will be given to them as a token of brokerage. They will be given this, and this will be from the return in case they are getting the return. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, if you're applying through agents, then definitely you'll get return. Example of the process. In the event that a common asset is interpreted as a virtual organization, its CEO is the asset administrator. Once in a while, call its venture counselor. Uh, the asset administrator is employed by a top managerial staff and is lawfully committed to work to the greatest advantage of common asset investors. Most asset supervisors are likewise proprietors of the asset. There are not many different representatives in a common asset organization. The venture consultant or asset supervisor may utilize a free expert to help fix speculations or perform statistical surveying. Okay. An asset bookkeeper is kept on staff to ascertain the assets NAV, national asset value, which is the everyday worth of the portfolio that decides whether offer costs go up or down. Share assets need to have a consistent official or two, and most likely a lawyer to stay awake of unofficial laws. So, what is it? Agents who are helping you to invest into the process, invest into the mutual fund. They are given free by the company from whom you can take the help and can invest into mutual funds. Will also guide you to invest in the best of the funds. Okay, so they will guide you. So there is no worry about it. So this is given by the company. This is something provided by the company. Okay, current issues. Things, in fact, have been not exactly ideal for the common subsidies industry because of the financial stoppage, just as explicit occasions. Key among which is the worth weakening across various businesses and resources. The beginning of COVID has served to dramatically intensify these issues. The latest casualty of the current circumstances is Franklin Templeton, India, which declared its choice to end up six obligation plans, referring to this as the lone practical choice to safeguard an incentive for unit holders and empower a systematic and fair exit for all financial backers. So, like everyone know, COVID has actually affected many people, not only the people, not only the corporates, not only um, something which is physically related to people has been affected, but the mutual fund also has got affected as people have lost their jobs and they are no more interested in mutual funds. They are just spending on survival, which is very much important. But for mutual funds, the craze have been lowering. So some people are facing risk. Some people are facing the debt. Some people are facing the risk, and some people have decided to close their company as it's not working now due to COVID. AMFI, the Common Asset Industry Body, has attempted to guarantee financial backers that greater part of the fixed pay put resources into predominant credit quality protection and plans have proper liquidity to guarantee typical tasks. Common assets are not one homogeneous mass and separate plans have diverse venture methodology and fundamental resources. However, the happening impact of the continuous pandemic managed a body pass of the resulting request, supply, liquidity, bungle. With this foundation, this blog endeavors to take a gander at the two arrangements of legitimate inquiries emerging here. First, with regards to ending up of shared asset plans, and second, arrangements and changes that can be made to the lawful system for the most part of the mutual fund association. Mutual fund law have been come uh, and have been coming out, and the law says the mutual fund regulation over three expansive circumstances in which a plan might be ended up. A. On the occurrence of the occasion which the assessment of the trustees requires the plan to be twisted. B. If 75% of the unit holders of a plan pass a goal that the plan be twisted up, if SEBI so coordinates in light of a legitimate concern for unit holders. A notable illustration of the SEBI's organization Sahara wrap up its commons asset plan subsequent to finding that it was not at this point fit and legitimate to complete the business. In a new industry occasion, SEBI implied a discussion on whether common finances should be at standard with banks, having a legal liquidity proportion and money hold proportion. Indeed, towards the end of the last year, certain corporate administration and speculation standards have been seen. So while a great amount of these actions might be useful on a stormy day, administrators and financial bankers zeroing in on more significant yields are probably not going to be excited. The monies that will go into these stores essentially come from the resources and pay off the plans. In the financial business also asset reports saw plunge after RBI directed the AQR workout. The NBFC, non-banking financial corporation area, has been blamed for seemingly reasonable enjoying practices. For example, always greening of advances to avoid provisioning prerequisites. The protectionist standards may likewise confront opposition since NAV and returns are as of now in a difficult situation, and presentation of such measures at this stage may disturb the truck more than bettering the market. These are the new laws that have been coming out, keeping in mind that mutual fund is really facing losses, and it is also a sector that people are getting used to and benefited through. So government have government have bring three new laws for this, which are so the laws include also debt servicing, debt servicing and liquidity concerns. Subsequent to the directions issued by the RBI on moratorium deferment of payment in light of the COVID pandemic, SEBI last Thursday permitted valuation agencies appointed by AMFI to not consider as default any delay in payment of interest, principle of extension of maturity of a security key by the issuer of the same has arisen solely due to COVID-19 pandemic, lockdown, or the RBI moratorium. RBI has announced a liquidity facility for mutual funds and opened a special INR of rupees 50,000 crore window for high-risk debt mutual funds. The scheme is available from April 27 to May 11. Unless the allocated amount is utilized earlier, the preferred mechanism to infuse liquidity here is the repo window, separating under the liquidity adjustment framework, according to which the RBI will lend to banks for specific on lending to mutual funds. Such exposure of mutual funds will be exempted from capital market exposure limitations under current prudential liquidations applicable in bank. This is a timely move by the RBI and reminiscent of similar efforts in the past, when mutual funds were assisted with tiding over a liquidity crisis both in 2008 and 2020. This is what debt servicing and liquidity concern is. The next one is reserves and fail safes. Okay. In a recent industry event, SEBI alluded to a debate on whether mutual funds need to be a par with banks, having a statutory liquidity ratio and cash reserve ratio. In fact, late last year, SEBI had introduced measures to introduce liquidity buffer in overnight and liquid among certain corporate governance and investment norms. While more of these measures may be helpful on a rainy day, managers and investors focusing on higher returns and unlikely to be invited. The monies that will go into these reserves would necessarily come from the assets and income. The banking industry as well, balance sheet saw a dip after RBI conducted the AQR exercise. All right, this is what reserves and fail safes is. Disadvantages during COVID times for mutual funds. Fluctuating returns. So, like COVID time has affected everything, so definitely there will be fluctuation in return as people are not able to regularly invest. So it has gap and it has an irregularity for investing into the funds. Fluctuating returns is like many other investments without a guaranteed return. There is always the possibility that the value of your mutual fund will depreciate for sure. Equity mutual fund experience price fluctuations along with the stocks that make up the fund. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation does not back up any mutual fund investment, and there is no guarantee of performance with the fund. Of course, almost every investment carries risks, so like the mutual fund. This is the fluctuating in returns. Fluctuation has to be there as there is no guarantee of a particular part of return, particular amount of return. Money drag. Money drag is a very common thing nowadays, and in case of mutual fund, it's more. So mutual fund is a pool of money from thousands of investors. They collect money. So every day people are putting money into the fund as well as withdrawing also. To maintain the capacity to accommodate withdrawals, funds typically have to keep a large portion of amount, which is very riskier to keep, which is becoming a shortage for everyone to keep enough money so that people, if they withdraw, then others should not face the problem. Everybody should withdraw the money and everybody should get the amount that they are looking for. Next, significant expenses. Mutual fund provide investors with professional knowledge, but it comes with a cost. Those expenses ratio mentioned earlier. These fees reduce the fund's overall payout and they are assessed to mutual fund investors regardless of the performance of the fund. As you can imagine, in years when the fund doesn't make money, these fees only magnify losses. Then, diversification or dilution. So, diversification, a play on words. All right, it's kind of a more advanced word that we're not very used to. But the basic word is diversification. So it is an investment or a portfolio strategy that implies too much complexity can lead to worse results. Many mutual fund investors tend to overcomplicate matters. That is, they acquire too many mutual funds and highly related to stock and shares. The risk reducing benefits of diversification is the mutual fund. These investors may have made their portfolio more exposed at other extreme. Just because you own mutual fund does not mean you are automatically diversified. Remember. Conclusion. Coming to the conclusion. COVID-19 is here to stay and it's not going to go anywhere for next many years. So, but the effect that the mutual fund is facing due to COVID-19 will be lesser as people are actually taking the measures. The mutual fund companies are actually looking forward to um, bring new schemes and to make sure that the investors are not facing a lot of problem and they are assured with a good return. Okay? So COVID-19 is here to stay and its impact across asset classes and industries is constantly evolving. The India government, as well as the regulators, have taken the threat seriously and introduced multiple measures to preserve the health and economic situation on the country. While slowdown in economic activity and growth inevitable in these times, it is necessary that loss of investor value and confidence is mitigated to the extent possible. Maybe a program similar to the Troubled Assets Religion Program, which was established in 2008 by the US Treasury to stabilize the financial system at large through a multi-pronged approach, including capital infusion, and will be considered. The tool, which similarly comprehensive at a time in India to tide over these times, deserves serious attention. Undoubtedly, both the government and our regulatory institutions have before them the un unenviable task of dual handling the mutual funds and also the banking sector. So banking sector and mutual funds are no way different. They are actually quite similar. They're actually quite similar and they're related to each other. Um, but mutual fund has more investors and it has a good amount of return. And banking sector is a part of everyone's life. The bank. So thank you. This was my presentation. Thank you so much. I hope I did satisfactory performance. Thank you so much.